I'm getting washed. Hey!
Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, Orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe. At Cuse Militia on the socials, go there. Join the militia live on X Spaces for the fan feedback segment of every post-game show. The Orange orchestrated a remarkable, is an understatement, comeback to defeat the Hurricanes 42-38 in the JMA Wireless Dome. It marked the largest comeback in program history, but also another 9-win regular season, another 9-win regular season since 2018? And it was like only the second time since in like 20 years. So huge, a huge day for Syracuse and the fans alike. It's a big day for fans. And that was all made possible by Fran Brown, in my opinion. And look, there's plenty of credit to go around, right? You win and lose as a team, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But he's got this thing rolling. So I'll start, Joe. We have the montage. I have something that Joe wanted pulled from the player presser. We'll do that before the montage. But as I mentioned, to overcome this 21-point first half deficit just shows where the coaching's at, the resilience and determination of this team. Like I said, it's the largest in program history. This team's never given up. And it's all about the culture and what Fran Brown is doing. And that's why I mentioned that at the beginning there. And it's what he's building. Okay. And I just find it remarkable what they did yesterday. And, they go down 21-0 so fast, man. And I was just like, oh my gosh, dude, this is getting way uglier than I thought it was going to get, way quicker than I thought it could get. Mm-hmm. So, you know what? They didn't even blink, dude. They didn't even blink, and hats off to them for that. And I got Kyle McCord next, but I think we'll save that. Devin Grant with the play of the game, man. You go down, and you lose a fumble. You've seen Willis loses a fumble, right? Yeah. And it was close, but it was clearly a fumble. But a momentum killer, two momentum killers. But this one in particular, the other one was that freaking call we're seeing lately with the
illegal formation, too many men in the backfield.
Yes, anyways, we won't go there. I'm going to talk about Devin Grant right now.
Yes,
because after that play, and you're thinking you fumbled the ball in the red zone like that, you saw Fran Brown going off. You think, man, what could have been? What could have been, right? And Devin Grant makes a game-changing play with a strip and score. Shifted the momentum 100% in Syracuse's favor, and, just enough can't be said for him, and, Coach will get into it, and I'll just give you a teaser. Coach said he's coming back next year, okay? So, anyways, an awesome job for him. On top of that, Marlo Wax and Justin Barron. We've talked a lot this year about how, these guys did not need to come back here. Marlo Wax ends up coming back and getting injured, right? Ends up still balling out after his injury. And fifth-year guys, huge leaders, going to be extremely missed. Both class acts. This defense is what it was through the year because of these guys. And by the way, when we talk about the evolution of a team, this is the first time that I can remember watching a defensive evolution like this. This defense actually got better throughout the year. I don't remember the last time I could actually honestly say that.
The offensive line did too.
The offensive line absolutely did. I was going to get there with I was going to get there with Kyle. But LaQuinn Allen, he's not like blowing numbers out, right? He's not being a world beater, but he's doing all of the things and all of the things and providing this balance to this offense with his run game and just contributing significantly, sustaining drives, helping control the clock. Just runs hard. SU ran the ball 8 times in a row, allowing them to wind down the 3 minutes and 42 seconds that was left to secure the win. Coach said after the game that LaQuinn Allen's the toughest player on the team. It shows. Also, what shows is that, the coaches trust him. They just kept giving him the ball. It's not, of course, that's the game plan, right? But he came through. Miami still had 2 timeouts. They could have easily gotten the ball back if LaQuinn Allen and this offensive line don't do what they did to finish that game out. Big props to both of them and to LaQuinn and all of the offensive line. And like I mentioned, man, the Fran Brown effect. Rebuilding, first year as a head coach, leads him to a 9-3 regular season. So far successful rebuilding phase in the era of NIL. These things will be proven year to year and not just going to be 1 year that makes or breaks. This is going to continue year after year after year after year after year, right? That's just the era we're living in. Coach Brown has that mentality to be able to do that. He's got the charisma to be able to do that. He's got the testicle fortitude to be able to do that, and he's got the wit. And he's got the freaking know-how to do it. He's the full package. There's no doubt about it. It can't help but boost the team's confidence for guys that are staying, for the recruits that were there. And when you talk about rebuilding and we talk about recruiting, this game was huge. It was huge to be able to pull this off. And not just this game, but throughout this whole year, what Fran Brown has put together and what Kyle said in his presser about Coach not, everything that Coach sold him as he sat in his living room came true. And, Fran's going to back up he's going to put his money where his mouth is. He's going to back up the things he says with action. And I think when you're building the culture, when you're rebuilding a team, and when you're talking about constantly having to build a team, that's immeasurable. It's huge for a guy of that kind of character to be leading your team. So, Kyle McCord. I mean, enough cannot be said about Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord is a Syracuse legend, period. He will go down as a Syracuse legend. It's going to be very hard to beat 4,326 yards in a single season. It's going to be very hard to beat yards gained per game with 360.5. It's going to be hard to beat 621 total plays in a season. He's the full package, man, and enough can't be said about him. You had 2 of the best quarterbacks in the ACC, one getting all the accolades throughout the year. Every bit of attention and deserved attention throughout the year for Cam Ward.
Oh yeah,
and Kyle McCord goes in and just beats him. And they don't play head to head. I understand that. And it's a team effort. But Kyle McCord showed out. And, this offensive line really did step up throughout the year, as Joe said, to keep him upright. He was sacked quick 3 times in this game. And I believe that was it. Was it the 3 quick ones? I think there might have been one a little bit later. But, no, this says, this box score says he was only sacked once. Is that right? Nah, that ain't right.
I thought he was only sacked twice.
Okay, well, I thought it was 3, and I thought they were all in the first half. Either way, this box score from ESPN is wrong, in my opinion. Anyways, with that said, the credit goes to the offensive line for improving throughout the year, helping Kyle McCord stay up. By the way, Kyle McCord had time in the pocket. Boy, and he was throwing bombs, man. He come out on that first touchdown drive, dude. It was just slinging it. And, Meeks. Enough can't be said about Meeks. Stepping enough.
Meeks, yeah.
Huh?
Meeks Pena.
Oh yeah, Pena was he was killing
He
it.
got robbed.
Yeah, he got robbed of a touchdown, and you think it doesn't matter, right? But this could have been a blowout. Kyle McCord was quoted as saying, "I just want to be the one who helped bring Syracuse back to what it once was, to be a part of that team that turned things around and got things going in the right direction. I think that's going to last forever." That's the quote of the year, and there's another one which we'll play, but
There's that one.
That's the quote, man. I love that, and just a class act guy. And if you heard Devin Grant I didn't put any really. I got one little clip of Kyle McCord, but if you did not listen to the players' post-game press conference, it is worth every second of that 12 plus minutes to listen to that, and to listen to the brotherhood that these guys got going on, and to listen to how they praise each other. This is a special team, and it's going to be tough to move on from this team. I mean, it's going to be tough to move on from Marlo Wax, Justin Barron, Kyle McCord. I mean, I'm not going to start naming them all, but it's just Jackson Meeks. It's tough, but a special season.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And, obviously it does start with Fran Brown, right? He's got to get the coaching job first. He did. And from the beginning, we liked everything about it, right? Like, we liked the way that he spoke, came across as, all right, seems like a real dude. And then he went and got players. He got to work as soon as he got here. And he didn't have a lot of time before, early signing day, which we're a week away from now. And, of course, he had to put this team together. He had to retain the guys that were already here. He had to bring in, some special graduate seniors that came in and, allowed this to be possible. Every coach is going to tell you, you still need, it's not just the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and Joes, and you need to have the players. We didn't leave it bare. He came in and he brought in the right guys. And I know you say it's a team game and you couldn't have done it without, they've spoke about it before. McCord and Fran Brown needed each other this year. Yeah. And McCord trusted him. He came in, and Fran Brown gave him the exact opportunity to do what he said he was going to do. And Kyle McCord took it and he ran with it. And I'm not saying that this would have been a bad year, but without Kyle McCord, I mean when they talked about, championship and ACC champion and being able to the first year, I didn't really believe that. And now when we actually go through, and after yesterday, and looking at this team today, I mean, probably takes care of business against at least Pittsburgh and Stanford, who, we're just used to the teams not growing. And that's when the sign of a good culture and a good coach, because we always talked about it, growing, getting better, the offense, just getting better as the season goes on, even throughout, injuries and things like that. And then the bumps and the bruises, somehow we could never really, get better as the season went on. And then we get injuries and then we start losing. And we always talk about, losing in November. We saw the exact opposite. We saw position rooms get better throughout the year, probably every single one of them, to be perfectly honest with you. And then you get to November, we're 4-1, and you could see that by this time, we know exactly how to use the guys that we have. We know how to go in, run the plays, what our game plan is going to be. You spoke of LaQuinn Allen. Doesn't really blow you off, the stats off the sheet, but at the end of the day, he does all the little things. He protects Kyle McCord. Great receiver. He finishes hard down in the goal line. He had 6 catches for 61 yards yesterday. So I thought that they used him really, really good in that situation. So at the end of the day, though, Kyle McCord made this. He made this thing happen to me personally, and it's funny too because it's a little bit of redemption that, I said in the beginning of the year I didn't think Kyle McCord was getting the attention that he should have been getting, especially when you look at the Cam Wards and Jackson Darts and some of these other guys. And I was even talking to a buddy at work who happened to be a Miami Hurricanes fan, and I said, and I was comparing his stats to Cam Ward. I'm like, see, he's not that far away, but he's not even being spoken about. And that was the week before the Pittsburgh game. And Kyle McCord went out, threw 5 interceptions, and my buddy at work was like, I don't want to hear you say anything about Kyle McCord for the rest of the year. I said, okay. And he happened to be, obviously a Miami Hurricanes fan. So now, I had some some texting going on back and forth last night and everything like that. And, you know, he was pretty upset, especially considering that he bet Miami and it was the only leg he didn't hit. It would have been for $5K. So really, Kyle McCord kind of got his revenge on on certain fans and stuff like that too. So now you look at it, everyone was against us. You know, only Kirk Herbstreit picked us in game day. The ACC huddle didn't even choose to go to Syracuse.
By the way, I was a little pissed about that. They went to the Commonwealth Bowl. I mean, for two teams that are they're playing for a bowl game. But other than that, the excitement wasn't there. I mean, it was an ass kicking. At least when I went to bed, it was.
I'm sure it was, and I'm sure that if you would have been able to, if those guys would have been able to pick, then I'm pretty sure that they would have picked Syracuse, especially McLean and EJ Manuel. I know that they would have liked that one, but you know, just the lack of respect. Even just watching ACC huddle before the game yesterday, where you know Eddie Royal's talking about how none of Syracuse's wide receivers would start at Miami, talking about their receivers are that much better than our receivers. Just that kind of disrespect. You know, they came out and this was our national championship, like we spoke about. Who knows how many of these guys are gonna play in the bowl game? And I don't really even care at this point because yesterday was all worth it, and that was our national championship, and we might have ruined Miami's chances at one. So
yeah,
it is what it is. But McCord he was amazing, and he outdueled Cam Ward, and they both played great offenses. But hey, it's a cherry on top, man.
Yeah.
Plus. And I want to get to that. I don't want to spoil but we made a lot of different fan bases feel some sort of way yesterday. You know, some Miami fan bases
Clemson.
Clemson fans were talking about, you know, drop
Ohio
your
State.
Venmo.
Yeah.
Ohio State fans were probably thinking a little bit differently yesterday. You got the Alabama and South Carolina fans that are like, oh, you might have just given us a chance to get into the college football playoff. Because up until yesterday, man, they were talking about the only chance that we would have two teams is if Miami and SMU made the ACC championship game. So, and again, that's just a discussion for another day. But yeah, so.
Well, just to clear it up, it was 2 sacks, I think. So, according to Fox, they have 2. So, anyways, which is even better than I thought. So. And they both happened I'm pretty sure they both happened in the first half. Yeah. I don't think he was touched again after that. Mm-hmm. So really good. And it was during the 3 and outs or whatever, you know. So anyways, let's just go ahead. And I came into the show today going, I'm going to forget something that I want to say. Cause there were so many thoughts running through my head last night that I wanted to say. And, you know, I was just so excited that I couldn't just sit down with a pad and paper and start jotting stuff down. But you know, you always, you know, how many times, Joe, have we come to a show and then we've ended the show and we've been like, oh my gosh. So, anyways, I'm sure I'm going to forget something, but there's a couple things that I just want to get your opinion on real quick. And the first one is that pass interference call that was, everybody thought it was a pass interference call, and they changed the holding because of the way the rules determine the outcome of that call at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So defensive holding is before the ball is released, the way I always understood it. So the holding turns into pass interference once the ball's in the air.
Yep. That
ball was in the air when that happened. So that's pass interference, and the ball was tipped. So it should have been not called. Anyways, Agreed. Okay. And they had a conference about it, right? Okay. So I figured I'd pick on these clown ass refs. They weren't bad, but that was
well, the touchdown that took away from Pena.
Because of that. Yes, exactly. Because of that. That was just like another thing. I was like, come on, are you serious? And, you know, it started to piss me off a little bit towards the end of the game. You're seeing a lot of flags flying instead of letting these.
Yeah, but I feel like we got ours. There
were legit calls. I know. I totally agree with you 100%. I'm not going to bag on them totally, but I just hate how that kind of stuff ends up happening. Right. So, Kyle McCord, 300 plus yards for 11 of the 12 games this year so far.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And
Syracuse.
the one he didn't, we still won against Virginia Tech.
Right. Which was the other game, which, if I remember right, that was close to being one of the best comebacks in history as well, because we were down like 18 at one point. So
yeah, it's like the fight in this team, and you can go all over and over. I mean, when you talk about having to come back from, going and beating UNLV, coming back and taking care of business as far as overtime goes, and then turning around and losing a home game to Stanford, you could have mailed it in, but we'd always come back, and then we'd come back, win a tough game, come back. Okay, and then we just got that stupid game from Pittsburgh that was like a one-off. And then you could have definitely, just in years when teams aren't held together with a good culture and a good coach and just good teammates, then those type of games can get you in a downward spiral. And it just never happened. We always played to the last whistle. So it's just funny when you look back. It's hard to say that it could have been a lot different, actually. So as weird as it is, yeah. I didn't believe it in the beginning, and now I look at it and I'm like, at the end of the year, I feel like we were a good enough team to actually make the conference championship. We just stumbled a couple times along the way.
Right, but to just play devil's advocate there, you can't stumble along the way.
Oh, 100%.
So, Syracuse beat 3 out of the 4 ranked teams they played this year.
Mm-hmm. That's
amazing.
Yep.
So,
first top 10 win again since Clemson in 2017.
Yeah, and I compared the feeling of this game to that, but this was way more sweet. This was way more sweet to me because that was a season where we really didn't do anything after that. What's that?
At the time, though?
At the time, it was huge, and I remember doing that show, and I was so excited to come and do that show that following day, and you know what I'm about to say?
Yeah.
I was so excited to come here and do that show, and I was like, I had all of the energy that one could have, and Joe just shit on it because he was hungover and he was not energetic at all. It was I was so pissed, but no, this was more sweet because of just the season as a whole. Looking back on it, it's easy to say in retrospect, but looking back on it.
That's why I'm trying to think because when we beat Clemson that year, it was the beginning of the year. It was I think our 5th game or something like that. So
we didn't do anything after that.
We didn't do any. We didn't even make a bowl game. Right. We fell apart because of injuries and stuff like that. So when you look at the retrospect of it, and compare the season, the overall season, and the fact that this was the last game of in our schedule, then I think it definitely makes it a little bit different. Plus, to me, what made it different was just it looked like we finally had the dome was back. Finally. The dome was loud. The dome was packed. Michael Irvin was on the sideline for Miami. There were so many recruits in-house, a week before early signing day. That was a big one, man.
Yeah, the crowd was awesome. They were loud off the get. The place was packed. I did look at tickets for going, and they weren't that bad. But the time of that game, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to leave early and get home and watch it. And my son was pissed. But I brought him up to the hill. We went to Manny's, went up to the hill, went up to the quad, see if any action was going on. This was Friday morning, or late morning. But anyway, 10 years ago, I was texting with Waterboy this morning, and I said, 10 years ago, I'd be kicking myself so hard for not going to that game that I wouldn't have been able to enjoy the win. But, it don't matter, man. I'm just at the end of the day, it would have been great to have been there, but I was just as emotional and I got the same chills watching it on TV, and I was just so happy for everybody there, and what an amazing game to be at, for sure. Absolutely awesome. The other thing is Syracuse is going to be, they're likely going to be ranked Monday. I say likely because obviously they should be, but we'll see. Yeah. And we can get into that a little bit, but let's just play this super quick. Joe, you wanted to bring it up. I wanted to get your thoughts, and then we can move on to the montage. And then we'll do some fan feedback and hear from you.
Kyle, I'm sure that you're a lot more focused with what's going on with Syracuse, but, does it give you any extra satisfaction? You already know what I'm going to say. Does it give you any extra satisfaction knowing that the same day you outdueled Cam Ward, beat Miami with this team, that Ohio State scored 10 points and lost to Michigan?
Everything comes full circle.
That is going to piss a lot of Ohio State fans off, as it should. But
no, it shouldn't.
Yeah, well,
Ohio State should be calling for Ryan Day's.
Well, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. That's a good point. But it should piss. I mean, it's going to piss people off. I think it should.
But if I'm an Ohio State fan,
I'm not saying they should be pissed at Kyle McCord.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No. I'm just saying when they watch that game and they saw that game and then they watch their game and their quarterback goes for 19 of 33 for 175, and this is the guy that replaced McCord with one touchdown and two interceptions against, a mediocre 6-5 Michigan team. It's gotta, and a rivalry week, right? I mean, it's gotta feel good for McCord and good on him.
I'm sure.
So
I mean, dude, think about it. He had the year that he had. They lost one game and it was to Michigan, and they happened to not get into the four-team playoff, in which this year it'd be 12, and they still would have made it anyway, right? But he basically got ran off. The fans blamed him, and the coach said that they couldn't guarantee him the starting spot. So if anything, that was all the motivation he needed. And then all he needed was somebody like Fran that believed in him that was going to push him. So it was like the perfect, for lack of a better word, marriage with Fran Brown and Kyle McCord, because like I said, they needed each other. And Ohio State fans should only be upset at themselves and the fact that they were more upset at Kyle McCord than the actual coach has been. And it's been pretty obvious that Ryan Day, when he's got a good enough team to where they can beat almost anybody, but when it comes down to clutch time, he doesn't make very good decisions. And if I'm an Ohio State fan, I might be eating a little bit of crow and saying, well, maybe it wasn't McCord, maybe it was Day. And they should be calling for his head. And maybe saying, and I'm sure there's a couple Ohio State fans out there, if they were to be honest with them, that during some time this year, they're probably thinking to themselves, man, I wish we still had Kyle McCord.
Oh,
and definitely after yesterday.
There's no doubt about that at all. Not for anything. Yeah. Howard only finished with just under 2,900 yards. So
he was more running quarterback, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, kinda. I know we all always talk about how they calculate this, but at the end of the year, he ended up with 131 yards rushing, but 7 touchdowns. It's probably like a lot of stuff close to the end zone type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, okay, Joe, let's move on. Let's hear from Fran. Look, I putting the montage together sometimes is work. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's easy. This one was fun. Rarely is it fun. This one was fun, and I could have made this thing 8 minutes, but I'll save y'all the extra 3. It's just over 5 minutes, where I like to keep it. But Fran Brown making post-game pressers great again. Here he is after the win.
I told them to go party tonight, but make sure they take care of each other. And any commits that are on campus that are around here partying, make sure that they act the right way and do the right things, so that way we continue to have a clean campus. I think this is a beautiful campus. It's beautiful here. It'll be a little bit of snow on the ground tomorrow, and it's amazing to be able to see snow with the Christmas lights and things of that nature. So I just want them to have fun, enjoy college for the winning team.
Just what you can say about Jackson Meeks' performance. It felt like every time you guys needed a big play when things were close in the second half, that he was able to provide that for you guys in the passing game.
He a dog.
367 days ago, you were hired here and you had a vision of what Syracuse football could be. Has this lived up to your vision?
No, not at all. Wanted to win a national championship. Wanted to go to the conference championship. Those two things didn't happen, but I guess it's progress. But, I wanted to go to a national championship. There was nothing else on my mind except for trying to repeat what happened in 1959 or at least 1987. Like, those two things were important to me, and we fell short of that. But we're growing, so we just got to keep pushing. But I will never be satisfied with second place or third place. That's like loser's mentality. But I'm happy for our players that our seniors got to raise the standard of what it takes to be a Syracuse football player. I mean, we beat 3 ranked teams, but they never rank us. So whoever they just rank, what they rank. So we should be 6 then if they were 6. So I don't know how the rankings go, but we got to be somewhere. You know how that goes. I'm just messing around, so don't be upset. But I don't really care about, like, the rankings and things like that. I do really care about us just being able to maximize who we are as individuals on and off the football field, and just being able to do that. I mean, you know how it is, just getting them closer in certain areas of their lives that they'll need for when it's time for them to be the men of the household.
How much did that scoop and score from Devin Grant summarize just the impact and the play that he has had on this program since transferring in?
He's a good player. He makes a lot of good plays. I mean, that's what he does. He's big play Dev. Makes a lot of good plays. Sorry, I keep saying he makes a lot of good plays, and he just got to continue to get better. I mean, Devin Grant's playing on a torn MCL. So he's been playing on a torn MCL for about 4 weeks now. He's just that tough. He won't get surgery. Told him we forced him into getting it afterwards. I mean, he's just a different kid. He works extremely hard, and I coach him extremely hard. Coach Schaaf does an amazing job the way we coach him, and we allow him to know, like, MCL torn, that doesn't matter. Not giving you no breaks. We're not doing different things with it. Make sure he works. So that kid is really, really tough, mentally and physically, and I'm excited that he's coming back to college next year and be playing here with us again. So now when you look what Kyle McCord came and done here at Syracuse compared to what he done at Ohio State, because that kind of happens all the time, but he has us with a 9-3 record right now. And you go to 2 of those games on 4th and 1 and 4th and 9, he wasn't on the football field. But if the ball was on the opposite side of the ball, right now we'd be like in here cheering that we're going to the conference championship game. So, I mean, he's an amazing kid. He will forever have a place in my heart. Will forever just be a part of my family. That's my guy, man. I love that kid a lot. I'm very thankful for him. I'm proud of him and his family, and I'm thankful that they trusted in me and my family. And that's my boy, yo. Like, he's a good dude, though. Like, he's a good dude. Like, I know what they mean when they say, hey, I will let him date my daughter. I always hear that bull crap. Like, hell no. Like, I wouldn't let him date my daughter either. But I'm just saying he's one of those guys that people will say, I let that guy date my daughter. He's a really class act kid.
Talk to me about what was the conversation going into that last drive to your offense about closing out the game.
Just 2 first downs, and that the offensive line, we coming at y'all. We're gonna jump on you guys back. Y'all help us do it. It's about the O-line being able to do it. And I always tell the coach at the end of the game, number 1 is the toughest player on our football team. Give him the ball. Just put the ball in LaQuint Allen's hands, and LaQuint will make sure you get paid. And as you guys keep talking to him, get him to stay in college another year. But we're very thankful about LaQuint.
Citrus and back in the WAR right here.
Coach, congrats on the win. Before the game, you had a bunch of recruits on the sideline. What does a win like this tell them and everyone who's going to be entering the portal in the next week about what Syracuse football can be?
I don't know. I mean, you know what it is. We can recruit, so that's easy. But where homie at that was said we don't win in November? What's up now? But just making sure that, November is the time that we win. That means a lot, What's our record in November again, Gomez? 4-1. Yeah, that's right. Just make sure talking about we won't win in November, but 4-1 is pretty cool. It's okay. I told you I didn't get washed one day. I made a big deal out of it. I'm getting washed tonight, though. I'm happy that we done this. And honestly, y'all asked me too many questions, and I don't even know how to answer no more. I'm trying to go party with our team and all these recruits. Thank you guys for everything. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be safe, all right?
All right, look, the one thing that stuck with all of us this year was the big hurdle of November. He wins 4 out of the 5 games in November. Tremendous. And, I hope that now we can finally put that behind us and not have to talk about that being a thing any longer. So, right, Joe? I mean, can we end the November thing? And like I said, this is year to year, right? This is year to year. So what were you going to say?
I was going to say, yeah, so we've broken that one this year.
Yeah.
That one's been, that has been an every year situation.
It has.
I think the next one that I want to see broken next year, and this is just going towards next year, is can we get a win coming out of a bye?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's put them both together. I want both.
This is
in
me.
1 year.
This is me nitpicking at this point, right? Because obviously,
well, not really. I mean, it's important. It is.
It's important, but I guess my whole point of that was that, I mean, I predicted them to go 8-4. They went 9-3. They went above my expectations. Weird that they beat all the teams I thought they were going to lose to, and they lost to a bunch of teams I thought we were going to beat. But nonetheless, yeah. Glad we got past that in November, and honestly, like, you can see it. Him talking about Devin Grant and him coming back, LaQuinn Allen coming back. He's still going to be trying to retain a bunch of stuff because we are going to be losing. We're going to be losing a lot. Recruiting's going up, but we're going to be losing a lot, and culture's there. But we're going to have to replace it. I guess after this year and seeing how real and fun it can be on that sideline with that coach. I know we got the 35th recruiting class, and I know he wants to recruit through the high school. He's got over 30, verbal commits right now, and we'll see in a week where that ends up. But, if you're a transfer, why wouldn't you want to come here?
I think we need one, and one of those needs to fill the quarterback spot. How about
of course, but I mean, Fran Brown has spoken before about him wanting to, replace through high school and doesn't want to have to rely on, graduate seniors and stuff. If it is transfers, he wants them to have multiple years. But there are going to be positions where they're going to have to go in and they're going to have to get that 1 year guy. He had to get more of them this year because of obviously, the fact that it was his first year. You just like to think that, and as we go into the future, year and year, like, we get less and less of those guys that we have to rely on and come in 1 year, and it's more of a culture where it's just a rinse and repeat like Georgia is now, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's how some people they like the grind of it, and you can put together these teams that can be dominant like that, but, it's just, I like the whole building thing. I like the idea of it. And any recruit that comes in that you're building for any specific position is just going to have to understand that, look, you're going to be taking a back seat right now. And we want you here. We recruited you because we wanted you here. And you're going to take a back seat. If you're okay with that, you should come with us. If you're not okay with that, then you can go find somewhere else to play. I mean, right?
I mean, look, and that's the thing is that's, they're also recruiting specific players with attributes and with specific values, and if you don't live by specific values and they can't trust you, then they won't even offer you. So there's that portion of it too. I think that with me, it was just, I was worried about, again, it's the old PTSD, but I was worried about him coming in and they're going to bring in a bunch of guys because you got some really good recruiters from some bigger name schools. But I was afraid that they were going to bring these guys in, and then if it was just same old Syracuse, then all the recruiting would go, the momentum would go, and it's been nothing but the opposite.
Before I ask your prediction on one thing real quick, we might as well go over the predictions now, because it's going to be so far separated from the bowl game preview that we should just do it now. So, Joe, congratulations to Joe for taking the game-by-game season championship. Good on Joe for that. I threw one up there to see what would stick, and I'm happy that I lost that because I picked Miami to win, and I'm fine with that. But what I did get, though, I did get the record. I needed that Miami game to get the record. Guessing the record, not any. I'm not breaking records over here.
I said 9-3 at the beginning of the year. They end up 9-3, and I thought that was possible. But like you said, I had gone through, and the teams that we lost against were totally different than the ones that we actually did. Except for I think I had Pitt in there. Yeah.
But anyways, so with that said, LaQuinn Allen. Do you think LaQuinn Allen stays? I mean, if we can keep LaQuinn Allen, that would speak volumes of what's being done over there at Syracuse with this football squad and retention and all of that stuff and how important all of that is. And to have a leader like LaQuinn come back would be tremendous because, as you said, we're going to lose so much and so many leaders that the ones that do stay that's gonna be, each one of those is just as important as the other, but it's the amount. It's the number that we get to keep.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is the number, right? And you could say the same thing about Devin Grant as well to me.
Coach seemed pretty confident about that one, but I mean, I hear you. I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, really, and with LeQuint too. Again, he's scored a lot of touchdowns, but he's not going to be that, the flashy guy that is going to put up a bunch of stats. But he does pass block well, and he does pass receive well. I feel like he still needs one more year, because I think he needs to bulk up a little bit more. He's a little bit tall for a running back position.
Yeah, what is he, 6'2"?
Something like that, yeah. And most of those guys that are 6'2", they got a lot more weight on them. I get that he's tough, and I get that he has no fear, and I love that. And how he just runs straight in the middle, and he gets, the tough 3-4 yards, 5 yards. Every once in a while, breaks them out. But, I've spoken about not being able to run on the outside. I know that they did that a little bit more the other day, but you can't just go flinging yourself into NFL lines and linebackers like that. It's a different size. It's a different speed. And I think that there's a couple things that he needs to help in his game. He's one of the toughest players on the team, one of the best leaders. His attitude is great. I love everything about him. I just think that there's a couple things that he needs to add to his repertoire. He's got a good repertoire. It's just, I think, you see what he has, and now let's fine-tune it. Get a little bit bigger, put 10, 15 pounds of muscle on, and just fine-tune all your other skills. And I think that you're talking about a guy that'll get drafted. I don't see him getting drafted. I see him being an undrafted guy if he goes out this year. That's just my personal opinion. Not to say that he won't land on a team once he actually goes out and does it, because I think he is willing to go out and do special teams and do whatever he can, and he can return punts, and he can catch, and he can pass block, which is why I think he is an NFL running back one day. But I still think that he needs one more year to prep for that. Like Justin Barron needed one more year of Fran Brown, because now that he's got him at linebacker where he's supposed to be, Justin Barron needs to put some weight on, and he'll be a hell of an NFL player.
Yeah, he does, but he's the athleticism and the talent and the willpower and just the mentality is there. The dude's all over the damn place.
No, 100%.
And I think, I was just going to say, I'm pretty sure he ended the year with the most tackles, and it's not even close.
No, not even. And the other guys, too. Elijah Clark's been banged up. Marlo Wax was banged up. For our defense to be able to play as good as they did with Marlo Wax banged up as much as he was this year. But we're going to be losing those guys. And it's funny because the last couple of weeks I've been looking, and I've been seeing Devin Grant. He's losing these one-on-one battles, and these guys are catching balls, especially yesterday. And I was like, man, why are they putting that? Why is he putting them? And then, he makes that great play and returns that touchdown. Then we find out from coach he's playing on a damn torn MCL. Right, yeah. So, kudos to that guy.
Just a team player. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I think that's it. Anything else, Joe? Well, we said before we started the show is that we are not going to drag this first segment out, and here we are 40 minutes later, dragging it out. So, I got one thing. No, never mind. Those Miami fans in the Dome, it was so good to see them all on their sads yesterday. I'll just put it that. I'll just put it like that, okay? The one guy that flipped the camera off at the end of the game, class act, Oh, gosh, because, boy, were they on one at the beginning of that game when it was 21-0. They were on one. So, good to see them get into all kinds of sadness and at the end of that game. And, that's the kind of fan I am. I just like seeing the other team's fans sad. So, I'm sorry. I don't rub it in, though. Like, I'm not someone who's going to talk a bunch of smack. But when it's over, sometimes people deserve it, and they deserve it.
No, I get it. It's just, that was what I think was great about yesterday, especially being able to get on Twitter. And that game, created so many different feelings for so many different fans yesterday. And it's just great.
Yeah.
To see Clemson's fans as Syracuse fans all of a sudden.
Did you see? Yeah, I know, right? Did you see Kyle McCord's tweet? I retweeted it.
Oh yeah,
you're welcome. And he tagged Clemson football.
Yeah.
So really good.
And Clemson had a tough day yesterday. They had to watch.
Yeah, Lenore Sellers.
Yeah, Lenore.
How about
Sellers
that?
How
about that?
Bring him up.
How about who didn't give him a shot? What kind of decision making do we? I don't know. Look, seems. I was telling Amy. I was like, by the way, we recruited him, and he was on our team.
No, he was a verbal commit, and then he.
Oh, that's
flipped.
right. That's right.
He flipped on signing day to South Carolina.
That's right.
So he's a redshirt freshman.
Yeah. Yes, you're right.
He's a problem. They've won 6 in a row.
Yeah, and good on him. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm happy with what we had this year. And I wish him the best of luck, but you wonder what could have been if maybe Fran Brown had anything to do with that process back then. But with that said, that dude can ball. And man, is he elusive. Talk about elusive. Lenore Sellers is freaking elusive.
He's got magic feet.
He does, dude. I mean, Clemson, he was breaking ankles all over the place. They didn't know what to do with him.
He's going to probably be shortlist Heisman going into next year. That's
crazy, man. That's crazy.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. Okay. Finally, it's time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right. The last regular season fan feedback segment for football. So, you guys know what to do. I ask for your thoughts on the game. You leave your thoughts on said game. We talk about them here. Between Twitter and Facebook, Joe, and I actually did bounce around on Facebook yesterday, and I broke my own rule, which is to not look at some of the comments, but I was just super curious early on when these things started coming in, and obviously a huge day for Syracuse and us, the fans. So I looked around on here, and I'm going to start with the one that I saw because I was thinking it. Well, I was thinking the guts of it, but I'm trying to find it now. So I am on Twitter. Something that we hadn't really brought up too much, but is an excellent point by Noah. At No Blanchard 44. John Wildhack deserves a round of applause. Home run hire, greatest game I've ever been to in my life. God bless Fran Brown. God bless Kyle McCord. What a season. Let's go Orange. Now, if for those of you who don't know, Noah's kind of a younger cat. I think he's 23. And, to be at that one, that was a good one for his young fandomship. And absolutely, I have not shied away from giving my feelings on Wildhack. It's mostly in regard to the NIL stuff and kind of trying to take the high road on some of that early on. But, I think he was faced with the decision at the end of last year or in the middle of last year maybe where he knew that he had to do something and absolute knock out of the park. Like Noah says here, home run hire. So congratulations to him. And that was one that he deserves some of the credit for that. But and look, Fran Brown, when Fran Brown came, he loves him some John Wildhack. So I think he got paid well, and it's a solid hire because Joe, let's not play dumb here. You and I were both like, I don't know, who the hell's Fran Brown? The hell's right? Like, he's a position coach. What's going on? What is this? So, we questioned it. And
wouldn't.
Well, there's people who will tell you they never questioned it. But I agree with you.
If there's anybody that didn't question it, they were probably like fans from Georgia and knew who he was and was like, probably better than any coach you're going to be able to get.
It wasn't long that we realized how this guy was going to do things. So, with that said, we caught on quick, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, let me scroll here a little bit. At Velt in a Kilt, we have shown what Cuse football can do, and this is going to have recruits looking at us with some interest. Yeah, big recruiting crowd at the Dome yesterday, and they got to watch the field get stormed and all of that. And got to witness the greatest comeback in program history. And look, I mean, it don't get too much better than that. And then they got to hear the players after the game, which was one of the best post-game press conferences by a group of players that I've listened to. And like I said, Fran Brown's press conference was a blast to listen to too. And I mean, they've got all of the things. And by they, I mean Cuse football has all of the things right now that you need to get big recruits. And like Fran Brown literally said in his press conference when he was asked about recruiting, he poo-pooed it, man. He was like, recruiting, that's easy. I ain't worried about recruiting.
No.
So that is a big deal for us as fans. That your coach is like, I ain't worried about recruiting. What are you talking about? So,
well, he really that's his
he's backed
forte,
it up,
right?
Well, yeah, exactly.
He's backed it up. He brought the guys in that kind of made this season possible, and now he knows that because of the way that the season went, it's not going to make recruiting any more difficult.
Right. I'm sorry. I muted myself to slap my equipment. I got that damn feedback again. It's really pissing me off. So, anyways, I think I smacked it just good enough. Nope. It's back. As long as we talk, you can't hear it. Let's see. At Cuse Waterboy 2. This is a program-altering W. A year ago, we were at the bottom of the barrel after losing to BC. Fran gets hired and more deliveries on, and more than delivers on his vision. Upset a top 6 team with a boatload of recruits and scouts in the Loud House, as we just mentioned. Order season tickets now. Syracuse football is back. Look, Fran Brown said Syracuse football is back, so I'm going to say Syracuse football is back. And how could it not be? After the year that they've had and going 4-1 in November and all of the things. So he's delivering, and that's the one thing that like Tony here says is he's delivering more on what his vision was right now. He said that he was asked if are you expectations where you want them to be after this season. He's like, no, I mean, look, congrats to the kids who's helped make this program better in my first year, but no, I want to win a national championship. I want to win an ACC championship, and we're just 2 plays away on defense from having an ACC championship be a thing. And Kyle McCord wasn't out on the field for those 2 plays on defense, obviously. So, if it comes down to Kyle McCord in those games, or we make those 2 plays or whatever, you're looking at a championship, and I don't like to play the ifs and buts game, but that's the fact of the matter, and the only reason I mention it is because it was in the presser. But yes, delivering on his vision, and like I said last year, what's a successful season? Well, I want to be competitive. That's all I ask. I want to be competitive when we probably shouldn't be. Syracuse finished 3rd in the ACC, and they were projected 11th or something like that. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. 4th. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. That's a successful season. A successful season is beating 3 out of 4 ranked teams throughout the year. A successful season is only really getting waxed one time and being in every single game, even in the losses. That's a successful season. A successful season is finishing at home and beating Miami, number 6 in the country, on their way to inevitably an ACC championship for them. But no. Sorry, that party got stopped. Syracuse playing spoiler there, and enough can't be said about it. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
At David Super, incredibly lucky to be in the building to witness this game. Yes, that's awesome, David. Hope you had a safe ride home, Sean. Have a cold beer waiting for you in the 300 level. Pumped for what this can do for Fran Brown moving forward. And hell, let's get some moments like this for Orange basketball. Yeah. I forgot Orange basketball was a thing yesterday, to be honest with you. I was so overwhelmed with that game. And that's awesome, David, that you were there. I explained earlier why I wasn't, but I left Syracuse at 4:00 in the morning to get back to Virginia. So, anyways, and I was pumped about this game, and I'm just glad that I was so happy for everybody that got to get on the field. I was so like the players, Kyle McCord smiling ear to ear for Devin Grant smiling ear to ear, and just during those interviews and stuff, and Coach's post-game interview. Now, you didn't get to watch it unless you saw the ACC. It was on the ACC network because they cut away from the game to go to LSU. But just when you think about what's being built, like things like this, there's fan bases that get to experience things like this every year, and not just waiting 4 or 5 years for moments like this. That, I think, is what Fran Brown brings to the table, is that we can be experiencing huge wins like this every year. And when he's talking about, well, I want to win a national championship, or I want to win an ACC championship, he ain't playing. Like, they're 2 plays away from an ACC championship this year. So, I mean, enough can't be said. Like I'm saying,
that's the thing. Like, he came from a place where like 9-3 is unacceptable. I mean, I think Georgia has 2 losses this year, and the fans aren't very happy. But they're going to get into the playoff because he got up to 12 teams this year. So he came in and he wasn't lying when he said the championships were, whether it's conference or national, like that is his expectation. He wasn't lying. Now, that wasn't my expectation. I guessed an 8-4, but I mean, there would have been a situation where maybe a 7-5 still would have been all right, because there was a lot of people saying it's his first year. He's got to get his feet under him, and that's why playing devil's advocate, I worry. Did he jump the expectations of the program too high?
Well,
is there a Kyle McCord available in the transfer portal every year to come in and do this?
Yeah, and it's. Yeah. That's yet to be seen. But from what he's shown, you have to believe that he's probably already got a game plan for replacing Kyle McCord next year. I mean,
and I hope he does, obviously.
And you're right. You're right. Like if we have a down year at some point, our fans just going to be obnoxious because they've just become so spoiled. I mean, that's something you want to avoid, right?
Definitely want to avoid.
We talk about setting expectations every year, right? And now we're being told by Coach, "Well, I want to win an AC championship. I want to win a national championship." So at the same time, it's exciting, but like I said, this is every year. We got to prove this every year because of the turnover and all that stuff.
And that's the thing is the turnaround, right? And because of the transfer portal, it's almost like free agency for a year. You can put a Band-Aid on things. He spoke about wanting to, really build this culture in this program through high school recruiting. Well, he's only had 1 high school recruiting class, about to have the second one. They won't come in until, this winter and spring and summer. So until those guys get to the point where they can go out there and physically play like that, then, you're going to have to bring in some Band-Aids. And are they all going to be home runs? Are you going to hit on every one of them? I don't know. But I do know that looking at this year versus like next year, and like I said, I don't want to, I didn't want to talk about looking too far next year too much in this podcast today because of just how good the game was and wanted to leave it like that. But schedule next year is brutal. So
yeah, and with that said, we thought that this schedule was going to be easier than what we've seen, right?
Yeah, and it's definitely been
not.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get the teams wrong, right? But I mean, just having the non-con. I mean, what was our most difficult 2 non-conference games this year was what? UNLV and either Ohio or UConn.
I mean, UNLV.
Yeah, 2 of our 4 non-conference games next year are Tennessee and Notre Dame.
That's awesome.
So,
well,
buckle up.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying we're going to have, now we want to be in the national.
You want to be in the national spotlight. You got to
be in the spotlight.
To be the best, you got to beat the best. I mean, those programs are humming right now. And
and they're not going to back down. It's just the amount, the people that we're losing versus who we're going to have to, and replace for next year. I don't know. It seems to me like it's going to be a tall order. If anything, the expectations got raised by those guys, And kudos to them. They came in and they balled out. They had great years. Fidel Diggs, he started off slow, but by the end of the year, I really gained to respect his game and the way that he played and how they were using him all over the place. And
led the team in sacks with, I think, 7.5.
Yep.
So,
so for those teams, for those players and everyone that came over and the seniors that stayed with Barron and Wax and Gadsden, like everything yesterday was just validation that they all made the right decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I liked most about yesterday. The fact that they were so happy that they won.
Yeah, and Kyle McCord said as much, right? Kyle McCord said as much last week before this win. Best decision he made. So,
man, that kid's got to be on cloud friggin' 9 today.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that. At Saltine Warrior 4, great momentum win heading into the offseason. Thankful for Fran and what he is building. Thankful for McCord and the amazing Warriors who are leaving. Yeah. Like I said, it's going to be tough for me. I'm a player guy, and it's going to be tough seeing Wax and Barron and McCord all pack it up and leave. But, I think especially guys like Wax, he's kind of a Syracuse through and through guy, right? He said as much, and we'll see Wax. We'll see him probably in the Dome as well. So it's just going back to the whole turnover thing. You've got to enjoy what you got when you got it, and it was a special year for Syracuse fans and the team, with a guy like Kyle McCord coming in and just absolutely balling out. And I went over his stats that he finished with for the year earlier, and breaking records here in Syracuse, and 11 out of 12 games, 300+ yards passing is just, if you would have told me that at the beginning of the year, I'd have called you a damned liar. No way. So at Joe Catskill, best game Cuse has played all year. Great point. Yeah, I totally agree. Once SU got ahead, I felt if they played mistake-free, they'd win. Nice for SU community and the program. Yeah, and look, they cleaned it up, and it was like a switch when they went down 21-0, and they came back. And Kyle McCord told his guys, he said, "Look, it's 21-7. We get a stop, we go score, we get the ball at halftime, we go score again. We're going to tie this game." And that's exactly what happened. So, calling his own shot. This was amazing, and he came out slinging. What did it take? 40 seconds to score in the second half. It was quick. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was quick. All right, Joe, you want to hit up some of these on Facebook real quick, because I don't want to spend too much time just with the. With the Twitter stuff.
Robert on Facebook reminded me of the good old days in the Dome. This city and fan base deserved that. Holy crap, I'm so hyped. Final thought, thank you, Coach Brown, and thank you, Kyle McCord. And, that's what it did. It reminded me of the old days. I was in the Dome when it was, Michael Vick in the Dome against Dwight Freeney, those guys, and even in earlier years. And it was just when it was a loud house. It's just what you knew it was. Every single game was like that.
Mm-hmm.
And city and fan base deserve that. I don't know if that's necessarily. Look, Fran Brown came in. He told you what he was going to do. He did it. And if anything, the fans could have been better this year for him and the team. And deserved it or not, it doesn't matter. It happened. So now it's up to the fan base to show up come next year. It needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And, goes back to what Tony said, what Waterboy said. Get your season tickets. Syracuse football's back. I'll tell you what. I was in beautiful Syracuse this week for Thanksgiving. And Syracuse has become, because I've been here so long, it's nostalgic for me to roll through the village and see, to see all the shit that's shut down. But still, I got to tell my kids about it.
What did that used to be?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
used
yeah.
to do that over there.
Yeah, you remember Lewin Bonds, right? You remember Lewin Bonds, Joe? The candy store? You might not. You might be too young for that. Nah, you don't. It's all good.
Was that the one in the village?
It was right on. Yeah, it was right on Kinney Street.
Candy
there.
in the village,
right across from Hilltop.
No.
Or what? Do what? No,
I don't remember.
Little
There's
tiny
an
store.
There's an actual candy store in one random street in the village. At least there used to be.
It's actually been boarded up for like 20 years. But anyway, I got to roll through and do some nostalgic kid stuff with the kids, and they hate it because like, Dad, you already told us that. Dad, you already told us that. We know, but you know what? I love it. It's where I grew up. It's where I'm from, and proud of it.
Hey, they need to know that there could have been a situation where you would have been growing up here. So be thankful. Be thankful and listen to my stories. Damn it.
Yeah, seriously. You walked outside today? So anyway.
So top fan Dave Raleigh.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh, there we go.
Pretty good. The trolls can eat their damn words. Every fake fan turd bag that took every moment they had to trash this team can eat their fill. So happy for the real fans in this team.
Yeah, how about, we got some early rumblings, but I would have to say all in all, so for this year, the winning has helped heal a lot of that, right? I mean, you didn't even hear a lot after the Pitt game, So,
nah.
I mean, winning heals all those things. I didn't hear a lot of it. Now I'm not on social media all the time, but I didn't hear a ton of it. However, we all know that those fans are out there, and those are the fans that they'll just never be happy. It doesn't matter, and we've been here, and I don't know if it was football or basketball. We've actually had fans quote unquote rooting against the team. So I mean, you don't get a draft pick, guys. So. It's one of those things. I'd just rather be right than win, which is crazy.
Oh, yeah. So, Jason, Facebook, didn't see that coming. Was at the UConn game last week. They didn't play near this good. I thought they didn't have a chance. Huge win.
That's kind of a good point. They just they just took their foot off the pedal against UConn, and I don't think they took it for granted at all. But you got to remember, too, just as athletes do sometimes, they play down, play up to the competition. They obviously, were ready for this game. They knew it was on the line here. Coach Brown had said in his pregame presser that this was their championship. Joe, you mentioned that on Monday, our last show. So on the previous show. So they knew what was on the line, and they just balled out. They didn't play a perfect game. You're not going to play a perfect game, but what they did is the grit and determination of this team to come back again on a team being down 21. They did it at Virginia Tech, down 18. We're not used to seeing that, and it is surely a good change of culture, and it'd be very easy to get used to. And I'm just, that's a good point. It's a good point. We should have put freaking UConn away, but at the end of the day, we won, and that's all they had to do was go win.
Oh yeah.
So,
see, you got Ted. Thought I would show Joe some love this morning by posting on Facebook. McCord's farewell game was one to remember. Need to give the O-line tons of credit this season as compared to recent seasons. Kept McCord healthy, and the false starts were almost non-existent. With the tough schedule next season, they will need to keep the recruiting train moving. Thanks, Cuse Militia.
Anytime. Don't think
man.
Don't think us.
Look, the O-line definitely got better. And that was another thing that, we did talk about going into this
season.
Going into this, well, not the season, but this game. And we talked about how it was two really good offenses that were going to be able to move the ball on the defenses. And I mean, we didn't see anything. It was like the opportunistic parts of that, right? Looking at the turnovers, right? And, their turnover was super opportunistic, right? It was like we were going in, we had the momentum, we were going in to score a touchdown is what I thought. And then they punched it out. And then we turned around and we punched out and we did one better because we got it and we returned it for a touchdown.
Right.
Plus, there were some bad penalties. It seems like every penalty that we had was during
pivotal points in the
drive. We only had four penalties for 36 yards. You wouldn't think that, but it was like one took away a touchdown, one gave them a first down. To their 9 for 77. So ultimately,
BS.
I think
there were those the first two that you mentioned there were BS. There was two late in the game that were legit. There was a pass interference late in the game that was legit, and then there was something else. I forget what the hell it was. But the first two that you mentioned were they suck. Those penalties suck.
Yep. Let's see, top fan Andy Stewart. Devin Grant might be the most underrated defensive player on this team this year. Great win. I think that's a good point considering what we learned after the game that he was been playing on a torn MCL. Let's see, Zach Shea, boy Zach, cannot wait to tell my future kids that I was at one of the greatest Syracuse.
That's great. I love it.
The greatest Syracuse games of all time. Coach calling out Dabo in his post-game interview is legendary. We may not have made the playoffs, but man, destroying Miami's season just feels just so good.
And it's not even like I don't like Miami, but if you destroy anyone's season, it doesn't matter who it is because it just feels good. That's like I have nothing against Miami fans, but I mean, when they were all in the fields at the end of the game, I was loving it. I feed off of that stuff. It was awesome. So
it's funny. Yeah, but it's funny how because there's also another comment on here, Adam, who said, "Great game. A small part of me hates that we helped Clemson, but I'll take it." LOL.
I don't.
So it's funny how you go back and forth. Well, I think that Adam lives in South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, that kind of makes sense. That's like me and the Virginia Tech in Virginia. Yeah,
exactly.
Because that one would have been hard to swallow, but I've never really had anything against Clemson. I actually respect Dabo Sweeney and Clemson quite a bit. So just as a program, and Dabo is, what he's done over there is awesome. So, still though, I mean, Miami back in the day was, Big East. So, it's kind of one of those things. It's not a Pitt, it's not a Boston College to me, but it's close, I guess. We've been so leaps and bounds. They've destroyed us in football so often throughout the years that it was like, inevitable loss at one point, I got one here. At Justin Knight, yes, the Justin Knight. Amazing execution by our team and coaching staff. To have the resilience to bounce back from being 21 down was special to see. Also, can't emphasize enough how important this game was with all the recruits in town. Huge win for the Orange program. Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, I guess if you lose, it doesn't necessarily hurt, right? But the win was just so there was so much more to the win than what met the eye just coming into the game and winning the game.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, and just full disclosure, because I did read up on a couple of recruits, and I don't remember specifics, but I know that there was definitely some recruits there that have scholarship offers by both teams.
Oh,
so,
that's a good. Yeah.
Imagine a situation where you got both of them on there, and then all of a sudden you go there, and and that happens. It might change your perspective a little bit, Yeah, I had a couple that were just like that. Andrew, glad there was 4- and 5-star recruits there. What an atmosphere. Don, tremendous game and shootout by 2 very good quarterbacks. SU got punched in the throat in the first quarter and had a touchdown taken away. The team never blinked. They put their big boy pants on and fought back. A great job by them, and the coaches should help with recruiting/portal for next season. As if they needed any help. So my way, Fran, they're not afraid of recruiting. They think that that's their go-to, but winning games only helps.
Well, right, and that's his bread and butter. So when they mentioned recruiting in the presser, he's like, "Yeah, okay, I got that under wraps. We're good." At Baptized by Fire 7, that was one of the most fun games I've ever watched. 21 points down and no quit, similar to what you were just reading. E-Rob made adjustments quick and on D, and McCord showed the world he is a pro. Yeah, McCord's a pro. I mean, your team needs a quarterback, Joe. My supposed team needs a quarterback.
Yeah. Well,
Tommy Cutlets didn't cut it?
Too.
Huh?
They've been talking about Cam Ward and Shadir Sanders being up there. Again, Kyle McCord, it hasn't been a quiet season to Syracuse fans because they're paying attention, right?
Right.
And even when I talk to other fans, they're like, "What's your guys' record? You guys are going to a bowl, right?" And I was like, "Well, we're 8-3, or like, we're 7-3." Like it was, yeah, we're going to a bowl game, but I don't know, dude. You just watch Kyle McCord play, and he can't extend the plays as good as Shadir's and
he's different though.
And Cam Ward, right? But to me, I mean, he's going to have a chance in the NFL, right? It's just.
He's a pro-style quarterback.
It's sad that it took the last game of the season for him to get on the national spotlight.
Yeah, I guess so. We got a request from our buddy Tyler Morona. Go ahead, Tyler. Unmute yourself.
And just a couple things before my son wakes up from his afternoon nap, so I might have to hang up and listen. But
okay.
First thing, it's kind of funny after this game. I'm almost heartbroken that the team doesn't have any more meaningful football left, because this has probably been my favorite team since becoming a Syracuse fan, outside of my own teammates. But don't you kind of feel the same way?
Oh, absolutely.
That this was, it was a special team that it maybe fell short by one game. I really do think that the Miami game in my heart kind of like gave them a mulligan for either the Pittsburgh loss or the Stanford loss. And, in my mind, or in my heart, rather, this will probably go down as one of my favorite, just because of how quickly it was put together and how different this team has been, especially when we needed it. And we all believed and, it came together. But second thought is that if this is truly your guys' last football season, I wanted to thank you and send you guys off with just saying that I know on behalf of myself and everybody else that's listened during these football seasons, it's been incredible to get to know you guys, to have you guys week in and week out broadcast about the team that I love, that I played for as a former player. None of your analysis was annoying. It was all heartfelt and it meant a lot to me. So if you guys do go away, somebody's gonna have to fill the void. I doubt it's gonna be myself with being a young parent, but I just want to thank you for your friendship and being a podcast listener. It feels like you're the best friend of the host. So wanted to say that, just get those things off my chest. And just, again, thank you guys for, committing and just being a great part of the Syracuse community, because it's helped me and get through some of these doggish days throughout the years. And it's been incredible to get to know you guys and podcast with you.
Well, Tyler, I'm floored by that. Thank you.
I appreciate that, buddy.
Really. I love you, bro. How could you not podcast next season? Why would you threaten that, Joe?
I asked you at the beginning of the season. I hope you remember. I said, if this team goes 9-3, 10-2, and you get bought back in, are you going to keep doing it? And you kind of said no.
What'd I say? We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. But you said I highly doubt it. But
well, I'll tell you. As of right now, I'm on board for doing a football season again. I don't know how you go through like 7 years of mediocrity and then
call it quits when it gets good.
Have it like this, like, yeah, like, what am I going to quit while I'm on top? I'm not on top of anything. So, but yeah, obviously it makes it easier. And if we could do it through the hard years, it makes it a whole lot easier to do it this year. It comes down to the amount of time that it just takes. So there was a lot of time allotted to doing the show.
Yeah, and I get it.
You've done it. So,
I think next year I might be able to maybe get a couple people here and there supplement for you guys if you want to take a week off or something. Don't be afraid to holler.
Do you do basketball?
No, certainly not.
That's going to be the difference. That's one thing I've learned is I've had to learn how to compromise the basketball with Sean. So we're going to be doing that a little bit differently, and obviously the off season. But I feel like once I compromise that part of it, I feel like by the time that football season comes along, he'll be ready to go again.
Yeah, and take a nice long summer off, recharge and go from there.
Yeah, it helps. It does. And hey, Tyler, real quick, while I got you, what was your prediction at the beginning of the year? I usually try to keep this, but I don't have it, and I was just looking for it while you were
I really wanted to say 10-2. I might have settled on 9-3, 8-4, somewhere in there. I can't remember, but I knew that so I went on somebody else's podcast and I said that my boldest prediction was that SMU would play Syracuse in the conference title, and then we would play Miami and beat them to go to the conference title. And I was one game short of that. And so, but I don't remember what I picked on your show.
Well, damn it. I remember what Joe picked. I remember what I picked. And I think you and I picked 9-3.
I think so.
That's just memory. So anyways.
Do you guys think that we could have beat SMU next week? 'Cause I'm iffy on that.
SMU's real, dude.
They're good, man.
Yeah. I mean,
they're fast.
Yeah, but could Miami beat SMU? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't.
We'll never know.
Well, exactly. You know, I don't. I wouldn't put. I'd put no matter who Syracuse is facing. I feel like they have a shot.
I do too.
They lost one game badly this year.
Yeah, I don't even. That wasn't a real game.
I know. Well,
that's an anomaly, dude.
Yeah, that's my point. Is that we were in every game, even the losses, and it comes down to 2 plays, and we've said it 100 times. But we've been in every game. We've won games we shouldn't. We're 3-4 against ranked teams this year. I mean, look,
I'd in November. Got better as the season.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
that's very true. That's a good point.
Yeah, so I mean, I would feel comfortable with them giving it a shot. I mean, this team has amazed me on many levels, and it's just, I mean, I don't think you could count them out of anything.
No, I wouldn't. I think that they could go in and absolutely potentially win a first-round playoff game. I don't know about the whole thing. I mean, we're just too thin up front on defense, but it's a good thought experiment. You know, if the D-line stayed healthy all year, you know, what could have been in that Boston College game and then down the stretch, right? You know, maybe we could have peaked at the right time, but you know, it's just disappointing that the injury bug got us again in that regard, and it cost us the BC game. But you know, I'm excited for years to come. And by the way, last thought: was UNLV the best team we played all year? They kind of were, right? Besides I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean, that's tough to say.
I think we played super good against Miami.
Yeah.
Miami's definitely the best offense that we played. But Tyler, if you got a couple seconds, I got a couple questions for you. What did you think about Ohio State losing yesterday?
Oh, dude, that was one of the funniest things of all time. I mean, how could you not? I mean, that's laugh out loud funny. That's like, you know, the Ohio State fans go into hiding for a year. Like, you don't wear gear for a year. You don't tell people that you meet for the first time that you went to Ohio State. You know, you take the emblem off your car. That's a horrible, horrible loss.
But how ironic is it that McCord wins this game and the quarterback they brought in still threw 2 interceptions and they lost to a mediocre Michigan team? I mean, that's
who laughs loudest in this case, for sure.
Yeah, did you hear McCord at the end of the game?
I just love that guy, man. I'm so heartbroken that I can't watch him play for the Orange anymore. And I don't think that if he had another year, we would be able to retain him, because I think that his stock is probably going to be the highest it would be going forward. Maybe he would come back one more year, but I mean, even still, I think it's time for him to go be a professional quarterback. Regardless, but man, you know, to have career-setting records in 1 year, how cool is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a blast.
I mean, the fact that he is, I think I looked at it, for career touchdowns and career passing yards for Syracuse, he is in the top 10. He's 9th in both of those categories in just 1 year.
For career, yeah.
I know.
For a career.
It's crazy. Tyler, I love you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Love you guys too.
Don't be a stranger. All right.
You guys don't be strangers.
I
Holler when you need.
I know. I deserve that. I deserve that.
Maybe Joe and I can get together on signing day, and we'll do a little small recap. 10-minute segment. It won't be 10 minutes, but we'll keep it to 10.
There's 33 of them, so no, I don't think.
I know.
I'm down for that. I'll just produce it. How about that? We can do
30 seconds to recruit. Yeah.
We can do that. I'll just produce it. I'll just be sit back here on mute.
Yeah. And I also think that we are comfortably a top 5 portal destination this year.
Okay.
Ditto.
Well, it's a good prediction. I mean,
I think we're sitting at 35 in the recruiting rankings as far as class goes right now, but we got 33 commits, so.
Right.
Awesome. All right, Tyler, we'll be in touch. Keep that in mind for the future in this recruiting class. We'll see how things go in the next few months and go from there. All right.
Love you guys.
All right, buddy. Love you too, man.
All right, have a good one, buddy.
All right. I got a couple more, Joe, if you would like. Thank you, Tyler, for popping in there. I really appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I've got just a couple more, and we can wrap this thing up as we are approaching an hour and a half of this, okay? Nonstop again. We don't get commercial breaks, so, it is what it is. And I'm out of drink. I know you're not. You get to walk around. See, Joe does, believe it or not, Joe does this with a headset and his cell phone. So I'm actually hooked up to stuff, and I can't just, freely walk around and grab a beer to quench my thirst. I've got to grab enough before we even start, and I'm out. Because I guess I've been talking too much, I guess. At Oil Cuse, I told y'all we'd win this game 4 weeks ago. Even with the refs in their phantom calls for PI or 5 men in the backfield, we still won. I miss Kyle McCord already. Joe is nasty as F forever. All caps, especially if that means we win games against top 10 opponents. Patrick, buddy. I love it. Patrick did predict, too, 44-38. Was his final score prediction on the Syracuse win over Miami. So, right there. And he's been banging on this door, the Syracuse-Miami game door, for a while. He wouldn't shut up about it. So, he got it. Let me see here. Love that. I love this. At Theo Cuse. Who needs defense when you have Alan McCord and those bevy of receivers? The momentum going into the second half was definitely on Cuse's side. Good point. We didn't mention that, but yeah, they 21 unanswered to 14 unanswered before the half, and then 21 unanswered to 21 unanswered immediately after the half. So extremely, extremely good, and well done by Syracuse to not just roll over and piss on themselves, which is amazing because being down 3 touchdowns is huge. Almost penalty-free. Unfortunately, we just witnessed Kyle's last game. Happy but sad. Does Kyle McCord play in a bowl game, Joe? What do you think?
I don't think there's a reason for him to.
I don't think there's a reason for him to either, unfortunately.
Going to what Tyler was just speaking, I'm just questioning it even if before this game, win or lose, right? Just because of injury-wise. But now you're talking about, we spoke earlier about Kyle McCord not having a great year secretly. The Syracuse fans knew that, right? I'm doing air quotes, but it took him to the last game to get on pretty much, the national spotlight, people talking about him. And then he ends up with this win. So realistically, to what Tyler said, his stock isn't going to grow any bigger than what it is right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
You go to a bowl game, you chance getting hurt, you chance having a bad game, not living up to whatever you just did. And then that would hurt your stock going in. Obviously, you're still going to have to go in and prove yourself and do all that stuff. But at the end of the day, this could be something to where, this game could have got him into the combine, and a bad bowl game or an injury can get him out of the combine. So, to me, his stock's as high as it's been. To Tyler's point, and I think that it would be a really, really not smart idea to do that. But hey. I'm not going to complain if he does. It's his career.
Right. I just
make
wonder
his own decisions.
What we look like if he doesn't, which is going to pull a little bit away from it. I think it's just the era that we live in, especially with the timing of having a guy like Kyle McCord. What's that?
Expectations go out the window if he doesn't start, I believe.
Oh, absolutely.
Anybody that's not coming back next year. I told you last week, I'd be cool if they had let Jakari Williams, the true freshman, start. Not going to burn his red shirt.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think he's going to be the only quarterback coming back next year, minus whoever we get in the transfer portal and recruiting. So,
our boy Tony, Cuse Waterboy, unmute or forever hold yourself, buddy. Actually, don't. That might be too tempting for him.
Can't say stuff like that to him.
I know. Go ahead, brother.
I appreciate that. How you boys doing?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
I feel shot. That was I don't know. That was like an emotional, religious experience yesterday. The dome was rocking.
Yes, it sounded great.
Yeah, good. I was gonna ask if it came across on TV because it was loud.
It absolutely did. They said, I think there was an ESPN reporter that said it reached 119 decibels, which is.
I believe it because I'm a veteran at this. I packed a couple of aspirin, popped them at halftime, and I went home with a headache. I woke up with a pounding headache. I still have a headache, and it's all worth it.
And you didn't drink, and you don't drink, so it wasn't from
I'm
alcohol.
16 years sober. Yeah, everybody is surprised by that too. They're like, "Hey, man, let me buy you a beer." It's like I'm stone cold sober, brother. And they're like, "Really? With your personality, I never would have guessed."
Yeah, well, that's good to be able to do that. I can't have fun without alcohol. I'm just kidding.
Right.
I'm kidding.
I'm still trying to put this game in perspective too, because I'm going back. I'm like, all right, I've stormed the court twice for North Carolina last year, and then Notre Dame when McNamara hit a 3 to beat them. I stormed football for Clemson in 2017. I stormed the game yesterday. And then I was at the Tennessee game in 1998 when the refs screwed us, which they tried to do again yesterday. And
they did.
I'm still trying to figure out, like, was this the loudest? And I think, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment, but I think this was the loudest and the craziest the Dome has gotten. It's right up there with that Tennessee game in 98.
Well, Joe and I were kind of talking about the feel of this win as compared to the most recent big win being the Clemson game, right, for football. And I just feel like this game, for me, was just so much more special because of just the season as a whole and who was on this team and what the circumstances that surrounded it, like what Tyler was talking about with just not having a ton of time to put together a team, and miraculously, Coach Brown did, and what he did for everything leading up to this year and what ended up happening this year. That win yesterday was wildly special.
Oh, it was huge. The Clemson game in 17 just came out of the blue. Nobody expected it.
Right.
Like, at least this, we're like, all right, we've got the dogs. We have one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. Like, we had a feeling, at least a shot, we could keep up with them.
Yeah,
like Kirk Herbstreit on game day picked us. One of the 5 people to pick us. It's like we had a legitimate shot. And
yeah, Joe showed me that. He also said that Kyle McCord was going to outplay Cam Ward, and he did.
Yeah, absolutely. Give the man his flowers, man. And, credit to Noah, too. He mentioned, and my buddies I've been mentioning it, like John Wildhack knocked it out of the park with that hire, Fran Brown, who then brought in Kyle McCord.
You know
Noah? On the hot seat. We all wanted him gone. Oh, yeah, I know Noah. We've hung out. We rip on him constantly.
Okay. Seems like a good kid.
He's a good dude, though. He's a solid kid. He's just a little goofy. He's young and goofy, and that's weird coming from me saying goofy.
Yeah, no shit. Ain't that the truth?
yeah. Go look on Twitter. There's a video my dad took of me storming the field shirtless with my kilt running through the air.
I watched that. I saw that.
I didn't see that. I'll have to go check that out.
You gotta watch it. He's doing it. It's the funniest thing in the world. My father is he's a ham, dude. He's so funny.
Well, that's, I guess, where you get it from then.
Exactly. But it's just, man, it's such a big win. Like, this is program altering. I can't overstate how big this is. So many recruits in the building, scouts, like, we're getting mainstream pub, Barstool Sports is talking about us, firing shots at Ohio State at the same time. Like, this is huge.
Oh, hey, I saw your tweet. I don't remember where it came from, but I did see it. So if anyone wants to check it out, what was that again?
Barstool Sports was posting about Syracuse and how big this was, and how Ohio State kind of shit the bed with letting McCord walk, like blaming him for all the problems when it wasn't him at all.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we talked about this either really early in the season or maybe even before the season. How it seems like, and Joe kind of capped it off today before we went live about how Ryan Day kind of maybe should get a little bit more blame for what happened last year. But
I think he's getting fired. You don't lose to Michigan 4 years in a row. See you later, bud.
Yeah.
Better update that resume. Get on Indeed.
Yeah. I mean, poor decision making, and I'm here for it because of what it did for us. So it is what it is. I'm fine with it.
No, I think Waterboy, I think probably the 2 loudest that I've ever been to. I want to say when Vic came to the Dome. God.
Yeah, I think that was 99. I want to say maybe 2000,
something like that. We had Damian Rhodes, Dwight Freeney.
Yep. Yeah, it might have been 2000.
2 or 3 overtimes, something like that. That's the loudest I think I've been in the Dome for a football game. And the basketball game was probably the year we won the national championship when we played Pittsburgh at home, and we I don't know.
The triple court storming? I was at that game.
Storming.
Yeah, where they kept reviewing it, and Jeremy McNeil, like a 47% free throw shooter, hit 2 free throws.
Yeah, and then the old boy, Brandon Knight or whatever his name was, almost hit a damn half-court shot at the end. Or he did,
the bank from half court, but the time had expired. Yep, I remember that.
Expired. Yeah, so that's the loudest basketball game. Those are the 2 loudest games that I've been to, but I was not at any of the games that you spoke of. So,
yeah.
Tony, you went to some good ones.
About it. Oh yeah, dude, I've been lucky. I always make sure I get to the ones when I can when something might happen. But I was talking to a buddy who's an engineer, and this makes sense. He was talking about the new dome roof because it is like metal rather than the old Teflon. So I guess it has the capability of trapping noise better and making it louder if we use it to its full potential. So that's why I think yesterday might have been at least on pace with Tennessee in 98, if not louder.
Yeah,
all the more reason to pack it next year. So let's find out. Let's get it loud as hell.
Oh, 100%. And that's what I was saying was that me and Sean, we talked about it before we went live, and it was just like that was the dome. It felt like the old school. We weren't even there, but just hearing it and seeing how packed it was, it felt like it was the old school dome for probably the first time this year. And that's something that we got to move forward on. You have those fans that talk about, you win, you bring the players, you win this, and then we'll show up. And I mean, look, yesterday proved it. Like you said, like you got to go get your season tickets when you can. And next year we got to fill that dome more than just once.
Yep, and don't forget too, there was a pivotal moment in the third quarter yesterday where the noise was off the charts, and we forced Miami to take a timeout that they could use later in the game when they were trying to get the ball back. Which, by the way, why did they kick that field goal with like 4.5 minutes left? That makes zero sense.
This is a good point because that was the point in time where I was the most nervous, was that 4th and goal, and I'm like, they're gonna go for it. They're gonna tie this game.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
I thought for sure.
They came out and kicked the field goal. I'm like, okay, well, that was not the brightest play.
Well, Mario Cristobal said analytics. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got at some point you just got to coach your team.
Well, reading the analytics more. Correct me if I'm wrong, but are we like top 5 or 10 in the nation in time of possession? Like we're really good at killing the clock once we get the ball. So why would you get the ball back to us? A field goal did nothing there.
No, it didn't.
No,
it didn't.
That was my point.
Yeah.
Was that okay? So right now you're in a position where you're down 7. You need a touchdown to tie. Now, if you don't get it, well, then you got them back down even further in their field, like they're on the 10-yard line,
right?
And you got to get a stop and get the ball back. If you kick a field goal, you still need a touchdown because you're only up 4,
right?
And you need to kick the ball off and get a stop and then still get a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't even know how
what are we doing?
I don't even know how the analytics even tell you that it's smart to go for a field goal there, down 7.
Because every time I see these stats and analytics, they always say go for it on 4th down. They're like, oh, go, 4th and 5, 4th and 6, go for it. Like
he said, well, we were outside our 10 in analytics.
The only thing it would have done was secure a win had they scored twice. The touchdown.
Yeah, that's a big if, though.
Right. Well, exactly. And LeQuint come in clutch, like talking about, because that dude, they ran him 8 times and killed the clock. And like you said, that one penalty can be attributed to the fan noise, and they only had 2 left. So it was an easy run out. They needed 2 first downs, really.
Don't forget that Trevor reverse.
Yeah. Oh, that was a killer play too. Yeah, that's right. They
Jeff
only
Nixon killing with a play call.
Yeah, they only needed 2 first downs, I believe, but I think they got 4.
So, yeah, and then there was that offside encroachment penalty too that Miami had.
That's right. Yeah, overachievers.
Yeah, and I'll hit you guys with one other thing too, and then I'll let you go. But a lot of people keep talking about like the Stanford game and like what if, and I'm a big believer in like the butterfly effect. If you change one thing in the past, it alters the timeline in the future. So yeah, cool. Say we beat Stanford, say we beat BC, say we come into this game and we're top 10, top 15 facing Miami. Who's to say that doesn't change everything and then we don't beat Miami? Because I watched them warm up, man. They were cocky as hell. They thought they were going to storm through us. They went up 21-0. They're waving goodbye to the fans. Like, I think and then we started coming back and all the pressure was on them. Like, I'd rather take this win over trading it for a BC and Stanford loss any day.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a good point. I'm just my school of thought is, it's that's why I said numerous times throughout the year, like I don't want to talk about the Stanford game and the what ifs, because if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we all have a Merry Christmas, and we lost the damn game. It sucks.
Yeah,
it sucks.
Like, you can't just be like, oh, we win those games and then we win this and then we're in the ACC title game. Like, it doesn't always work like that.
No, it
like,
doesn't. But it's fun to talk about, right? Just to make it just.
But Waterboy's right though, because at the end of the day, if you take those two back, but then lose this one, then what are you? You're 10-2. You're still not in the ACC championship, and the best team you beat was UNLV or Georgia Tech.
This win is massive. This is literally program defining. Like, we're back.
Yeah, and RJ in the comments saying we not only ruined Miami's season, but UNLV's too. So.
Yep.
I mean,
gotta love it. Love being a spoiler.
That was a game. That was a
pivot. Did we ruin their season?
Well, I mean, you know, they're top 20. What are they? 22nd? What are they?
They're 19th. The rankings just came out. We're 23rd in the AP, which is criminally underrated. I thought we'd be 20.
I thought we were going to be 22. That's what I would have put us.
25 in coaches, 23 in AP.
Also. Fran Brown would have put us at 6 because we beat 6. I love that.
Yeah. Hey, the math checks out to me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no ESM math, but I didn't go to ESM.
Sports math.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, who knows what could have been with UNLV too? When they lose 2 games, so.
Yeah, 10-2, and I think they're in the Mountain West title game or whatever conference they're in. I forget now.
Yeah, it's Mountain West.
Yeah.
The only games they've lost to is Syracuse and Boise State.
Yep.
And they're playing Boise State in the Mountain West championship.
They held their own there for a while too against Boise State too.
So. No, that was a close game.
All right, Tony, I appreciate you, brother.
Anytime, boys. Appreciate you.
All right,
buddy.
Take care, man.
All right, you too. Later, boss.
Later. Yeah. So look, I don't have a whole lot left. Huh?
That was a 29-24 game.
Was it?
So UNLV's only losses is to us in overtime by 3 and to 5.
Yeah,
against
by 8
Boise
points.
State.
8 points total for the year. We kind of thought that UNLV was going to be good this year. We thought that after we beat them, that was going to be a good win, right? We talked about that.
I think they have a good chance of beating Boise State. I mean, Boise State's good, but their only loss is Oregon.
Okay. You have anything else, Joe? Anything else?
The only one that I have is from John Foley on Facebook. He says, it was the wildest college football game I have ever been to. It is my first year as a football season ticket holder, and all I can say is incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so just like anybody else out there, obviously his first season ended with a bang, played pretty good at home. If you liked what you saw yesterday, and start saving up for your season tickets next year.
Yeah. Is that one of those things that you get them while you can type thing, or do you wait? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think I don't know if they changed the way they do them now, or there's a certain date you got to like sign up for or like put in some type of deposit.
Tony would know, but anyway.
But for the new people, you can go there in the spring game and they show like, tickets, and you can get, you can check out different seats, see what the view is, and compare prices to see where you'd like to have your season tickets. So they're willing to work with you with that kind of stuff. And they're really not that, I mean, as far as a Power 4 team, season tickets, like they're very, very affordable. So
just a couple quick comments from the spaces before we wrap things up. Our buddy Nadal, with Joe eating a ketchup topped hot dog live on air, every season helps Sean stay. Do it for the militia, Joe. What do you think? I mean, it's not like, by the way, Nadal, Joe calls that day every day that ends in Y. Okay.
That's not.
So it's not like a big deal for it. It's just the difference is that we get to watch it, and I'll make sure that there's a video of it. That's all. That's the only difference.
Dude, I can't tell you the last time I've just had a hot dog with just ketchup on it.
See, here he goes again.
It's not. This is a made up thing that people are just running with. I love it. and hate it at the same time.
Our buddy Patrick, I think it's good for us long term if McCord doesn't play in the bowl. It gives us an opportunity to see our other QBs on the roster, just like Jakari Williams, Joe, you mentioned, and Michael Johnson. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up for me. But obviously, you to get the young guy out there to see would not hurt. It would not hurt. However, when you talk about long term, I mean, maybe, but I just feel like that position needs to be filled through the portal, and I guess we'll just have to see what coach has planned for that. So, what are you smiling at right now?
Just some of these comments, Captain Patrick.
I blame the media for not voting us in the top 25 for the lack of awareness. Starting with Emily Leaker. Spelling? I don't know. I think that's right, though. More like Emily, I don't like her. Oh, my gosh, dude.
Nadal, to answer your question, I would, one time a year, eat a ketchup hot dog.
That's how much this show means to Joe, okay? Going into the 8th year of, or excuse me, is it 8th year of basketball? Yes, I believe so. 8th year of basketball. That's how much it means to Joe. So he would actually do that.
Look, I enjoy talking about this stuff. I enjoy the fans, as we get closer to the end of the year, and you kind of teasing the end of the militia. We've heard some good things. Some people like it, and I enjoy doing this. And at the end of the day, if I got to eat one hot dog with ketchup on it once a year,
it's worth it to you. I'll tell you what, we need to fix this feedback problem. I'll tell you that. That needs to be fixed before any of that happens. I think I have some kind of wire issue. Anyway, look, enough can't be said for this team and these players this year. And what a freaking blast it was to watch them. Obviously, I think we're going to go into this bowl game. The complexion of this team is going to be totally different. It's unfortunate, but it's kind of the way it is. And, we just have to accept that for what it is on face value. And that is the fact that, if you don't make the playoffs, then your bowl game is essentially just practice. Okay. It's how it feels to me. Okay. That's how I feel about it. So,
yeah, but we do have a lot of returning younger kids that did get some playing time and have gotten some playing time near the end of the season. And realistically, if we go in there and we play, if these seniors that have NFL aspirations sit and we go in there, we're going to be playing against a pretty good team. So realistically, off of this win, it's going to tell you a lot about the culture, right? It's going to tell you a lot about the culture, the young kids coming up, what they've learned, and the confidence they've got from the seniors, and also it's going to kind of show the coaches too, where do we need to improve? Where do we need to maybe go out in that transfer portal? I think that if you do play the bowl game just to win and you play the seniors, then a lot of times that's kind of hiding a lot of gaps of what the next season is going to be. So I think, to your point, it's from now on, especially with the 12 teams, college football playoff, if you don't make that playoff, that bowl game is essentially, okay, let's put the young guys in and assess where we're going to be. We know who wants to transfer, who's going to stay. We know who we got coming in. And where are we going to have to fill these gaps? Because some of these senior guys, if they come in and play the bowl, all they're really doing is masking or hiding some possible future deficiencies that we could, maybe be more aware of earlier so that we can rectify that situation in the offseason through transfers. So
yeah,
that's the smart way that I would go about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a solid point. So Cap, good observation there, buddy. Also appreciate all of you for listening this season, and especially those of you in the spaces that have come in at the end of most shows that we've done, post-game shows. So we appreciate all of you. And obviously we're going to transition to basketball here for a little bit, and we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm looking at maybe a once a week show for basketball, and we'll just kind of have some fun with it, go over some fan comments and stuff like that, and just have some fun with it and kind of make it more or less slightly analytical, but more fan base. That's kind of how I see it. That would just help things transition, I think, and we'll go from there. Anyways, maybe you'd be lucky to get me for that. So be happy. Actually, or maybe don't be happy. I mean, maybe you're not happy about that. I don't know. Maybe you want this show wiped off of iTunes. I mean, I don't blame you. That's fine too. You're entitled to your opinion. But with that said, that is going to do it for us. Like I said, I appreciate all of you. We'll be back here soon. I guess Syracuse plays what, Joe? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
All right. We'll try to get back here Wednesday to talk about that. I appreciate you. Have fun. Be safe. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out. Go Cuse.
Peace.